But I have this is my bad. There are 9 people waiting. I forgot to sit.
Oh, you forgot.
Yeah, I forgot to sit in the waiting room. So here we go. Okay. That's 7 o'clock precise. 1 minute past 7 o'clock. We have got, and we have got
Krishna
Needle.
Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Needle Prabhu, Dandat Pranam.
Yes, Mataji, I won't read, but I'll be able to give the order.
You will make others read?
Yes.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandat Pranams.
Dandat Pranams, Dandat Pranams. Okay.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandat.
So,
Hare Krishna
Hare Krishna
Mataji,
Mataji,
Dandat
Dandat
Pranam.
Pranam, Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna, Shraddha
Hare Krishna, Sarvataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Hare Krishna
Mataji,
Sukumala Mataji,
Shana Mataji.
Hare Krishna Vijay Lakshmi Mataji, Sutapa Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Yeah, Hare Krishna to everybody. Dandavat
Hare
Pranam.
Krishna.
Very nice. Welcome to the class, those of you who are on Facebook, as well as those of you who are here on Zoom. We're going to do the study of Bhagavad Gita today on this auspicious month of Kartik. And I see Garima Mataji is also coming into her room in the light from the darkness. This is what Bhagavad Gita also does to us. It carries us from the darkness into the light. Because wherever we are, wherever there is Krishna, what happens?
There's no darkness.
There is no darkness. Right. Jaha Krishna taha nahi mayera adhikar. All right. So we have Aruni Mataji and Simi Mataji who is also joining us, and they can tell us whether they are in a position to read or not, while Neeral Prabhu is creating the reading order for us.
Yeah, I can read today.
Fantastic.
I can also read today. Thank you.
Fantastic.
Hare Krishna Neeral Prabhu, I am here.
Oh, Vindhyavali Mataji.
So sweet.
Don't, in case you didn't realize that Mataji is here.
How are you feeling, Mataji?
Oh,
Somewhat okay, weakness, but tomorrow morning we are leaving for San Jose by road.
safe travels.
Yeah. Just now I saw that Colorado is health department, they issued it's COVID-19 is very severe.
Mataji, I posted the order.
Okay, and Manati and Suyash are also there. Are you able to read today?
Okay.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Mataji, Niral Prabhu, I am not in the list.
He was the
Okay,
first to join.
Okay, Mataji, sorry. I put
Actually,
Vindhyavali
Prabhu,
Mataji
Neeral
first.
Prabhu.
Yes, Mataji, I'll add it.
Even Prabhu, my name is also not there.
No, your name is there, Mataji.
Your name is there, Varshana Mataji.
After Aruni
I don't
Mataji.
see any names. at
By
all.
the way, my name is there twice. Once after Sukumala Mataji and another one after Archana Mataji.
Okay,
So
copy paste error, Mataji.
Neither.
that is Neeral special mercy flowing your way today. Aruni Mataji.
Rohan, please come.
Wow, fantastic.
Okay, Mataji, I'll paste it again. Sorry, I'll remove.
Muhur Muhur. Again and again.
Yeah, so I'll speak out the order. It's Vindhyavali Mataji, Suttapa Mataji. Sorry, I put Suttapa Mataji twice now. My bad. Sukamala Radha Mataji, Aruni Mataji, Varshana Mataji, Sonia Mataji, Garima Mataji, Archana Mataji, Simi Mataji, and Vindhyavali Mataji again because it's the cycle that we have.
Okay.
After Simi Mataji.
Okay, so that's the cycle. Fantastic. So we'll get started with a short prayer to the spiritual master before going to Bhagavad Gita chapter 12. Here, Om Agyanarandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. All right, welcome dear devotees as we go and read the 12th chapter of Bhagavad Gita entitled Devotional Service to the Lord, reading 2 translations each. So let's get going.
Chapter 12, Devotional Service. Text 1, Arjuna inquired, which are considered to be more perfect, those who are always properly engaged in your devotional service, are those who worship the impersonal Brahman, the unmanifested. Text 2. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, those who fix their minds on my personal form and are always engaged in worshipping me with great and transcendental faith are considered by me to be most perfect. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Text 3 and 4. But those who fully worship the unmanifested, that which lies beyond the perception of the senses, the all pervading, inconceivable, unchanging, fixed and immovable, the impersonal conception of the absolute truth, by controlling the various senses and being equally disposed to everyone, such persons engaged in the welfare of all at last achieve me. Text 5. For those whose minds are attached to the unmanifested impersonal feature of the Supreme, advancement is very troublesome. To make progress in that discipline is always difficult for those who are embodied. Hare Krishna.
Text 6 and 7. But those who worship me, giving up all their activities unto me and being devoted to me without deviation, engaged in devotional service and always meditating upon me, having fixed their minds upon me, O son of Pritha, for them I am the swift deliverer from the ocean of birth and death. Text 8. Just fix your mind upon me, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and engage all your intelligence in me. Thus you will live in me always without a doubt. Aruni Mataji.
Text 9. My dear Arjuna, O winner of wealth, if you cannot fix your mind upon me without deviation, then follow the regulative principles of Bhakti Yoga. In this way, develop a desire to attain me. Text 10. If you cannot practice the regulations of Bhakti Yoga, then just try to work for me, because by working for me, you will come to the perfect stage.
Hare Krishna.
Varshana
Text
Mataji.
11. Yes, thank you, Mataji. Text 11. If, however, you are unable to work in the consciousness of me, then try to act giving up all results of your work and try to be self-situated. Text 12. If you cannot take to this practice, then engage yourself in cultivation of knowledge. Better than knowledge, however, is meditation, and better than meditation is renunciation of the fruits of action. For by which renunciation, by such renunciation, one can attain peace of mind. Hare Krishna. Sonia Mataji.
Hare Krishna, text 13:14. One who is not envious but is kind, but is a kind friend to all living entities, who does not think himself a proprietor and is free from false ego, who is equal in both happiness and distress, who is tolerant, always satisfied, self-controlled, and engaged in devotional service with determination, his mind and intelligence fixed on me. Such a devotee of mine is very dear to me. Text 15. He by whom no one is put into difficulty and who is not disturbed by anyone, and by who is not disturbed by anyone, who is equipoised in happiness and distress, fear and anxiety, is very dear to me. Hare Krishna. It's Garima Mataji.
Yeah. Text 16. My devotee who is not dependent or ordinary courses of activity, who is pure, expert, without cares, free from all pain, and not striving for some result, is very dear to me. Text 17. One who neither rejoices nor grieves, who neither laments nor desires, and who renounces both auspicious and inauspicious things. Such a devotee is very dear to me.
Archana Mataji, your daughter can read. Archana Mataji.
Poised in honor and dishonor, heat and cold, happiness and distress, fame and infamy, who is always free from contaminating association, always silent and satisfied with anything, who doesn't care for any residence, who is fixed in knowledge, and who is engaged in devotional service, such a person is very dear to me. Text 20. Those who follow this imperishable path of devotional service and who completely engage themselves with faith, making me the supreme goal, are very, very dear to me. Haribol.
Hare Krishna. Reflection time.
Text 20 is Martadi. Those who follow this imperishable path of devotional service
Oh, I thought you did.
and who completely engage themselves with faith. That's what I had all these days. Making me the supreme goal are very dear. Very dear.
I think Sunny just goes by text 18 and 20 and she thinks that it is 2, right?
Yeah.
And then she stops. And Sunny, when we have a double verse, we go and do the next one also. But that's fine. Okay, reflection time. I thought she stopped so she had done that. Okay, good. Time to reflect. Tell me what you heard from here.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Text 20, which Vidyavali Mataji also pointed out, in that the specific word imperishable, those who follow the imperishable path of devotional service with great faith and determination are very, very dear to me. So the word imperishable, it struck my mind because Krishna, he has used this word previously also in 9th chapter 9.31, where he says, my devotee, my bhakt never perishes.
Never perish.
Kaunteya prati
Yeah.
jane, name bhakti
Kaunteya prati jane hi namay bhaktya pranashyati. So pranashyati, that word, it's very important because
right.
he is not saying for the jnanis, he's not saying for the karmis, he's specifically mentioning to Arjuna, declare it to the world, like my devotee never perishes. And in the end, in this chapter also, he's saying those who follow the imperishable path of devotional service are very dear, very, very dear to me. So that's
Very nice. Yeah, actually, in this regard, there's a very interesting story that Naveen Prabhu was telling us recently. He was giving a lecture at ISV, and so so he was saying that he pointed out that when we say "my devotee never perishes," what does it mean? The devotee does die in the end, right? So what does it mean that my devotee never perishes? Or this imperishable path? Well, imperishable path of devotional service we do understand, where it says in Bhagavad Gita 2:40, Neha bikrama nashosti pratyavayona vidyate. So even if you do very little, work over, sualpam, right? So even if you do a little amount of work over here, it gets carried over to your next life, right? For example, um, the thought just left in mind. Yeah. So when a person leaves the body, whatever devotional service he has done, he carries that with him to the next life, although he has to leave everything here, material things he has to leave over here in this material world, right? So to that extent, it is like that. And then Arjuna asks in the 6th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, and he says that what is the destination of an unsuccessful transcendentalist, right? And Krishna gives the 2 answers there, that for both of them, they don't lose whatever they have done. And depending on whatever they have accumulated in terms of progress in the devotional service, from that level, they will start in the next life by either being born in the family of a very, exalted transcendentalist or being born in an aristocratic family. So that talks about the devotional service being imperishable, right? That whatever investments you make, they don't finish, right? But what does it mean that Kaunteya prati jane hi name bhaktya pranashyati? So my devotee never perishes. So it was an interesting thing, and he said that that when we talk about devotee and Krishna taking care of the devotees, so it's so many times in the Bhagavad Gita we hear about that he has created this material world, and then he says that I have nothing to do with it, right? So Krishna doesn't have much to do with our bodies. I mean, he will interfere. Yes, he will do that, but his main interest is you. And what that means is like you, the soul. That is where his main interests lie. And so when he says Name Bhaktya Pranashyati, he's talking about taking care of the soul. And of course, we know the soul never dies. So there's no question of devotee dying like that. But perishing of the soul, or sometimes we hear the word soul killer, atmaha, right? Killer of the soul. So it doesn't mean that the soul gets killed, because soul cannot be killed, right? But it just means that the soul goes into a lower consciousness. So Krishna takes care of his devotees, and will make arrangements so that the consciousness doesn't go down, unless the devotee overrides that with a very strong desire and his own free will that he has. And he also talked about Panashyati and the dying part of it. And there's a very interesting story that he gave, and it's a true story of this Khan devotee. And apparently there was this exalted devotee of Lord Krishna, very, very popular, very outgoing, doing a lot of seva. And so one day he was driving his motorbike and going someplace. And then he was hit by a big truck. So you can imagine the motorbike is going, and then a big truck comes and hits the motorbike. So obviously the motorbike flew into the air and then went over the hedges and landed on the lawns of a house, which was by the freeway. And can you guess that was the house of a devotee? And they were having some sort of a bhakti vriksha in their home. So people were there was kirtan going on. So this devotee goes and lands there. So when all this thing happens, the motorcycle, the noise of the accident and all that, so the devotees came out, and then they saw him there. And then they of course there was kirtan there, so they continued the kirtan, and this devotee left his body there in the midst of all the kirtan, like that. And the person who was driving the truck, he was also a devotee. So like Krishna's plans and Krishna's ways of taking care of his devotees are very. So on the face of it, we might just think that, oh, he was hit by a motorcycle. Yes, it's painful, it's horrifying, but then if you look at the end results, that what a gallant and what a gala departure Krishna arranged for him, right? He goes and lands. I mean, look at that. Look at that. What are the odds of that you have to die on an accident? So a devotee has to come and hit you, and then you fly in the air, and then you land in the courtyard or lawns of a devotee, like that. So Kantiya, yes. So the devotional service is imperishable in so many aspects of it, like that. Yeah. Any more reflections?
I have a question, Shraddha Mataji, not to
Go
reflect.
ahead. Yeah.
In the 5th verse, it says that to make progress in that discipline is always difficult for those who are embodied. I do not understand the meaning of embodied in this
Yeah.
in this.
Okay. And this is the verse for today. Today we're going to read this
Okay.
verse. So we will address that. Embodied will come. Yeah. Yeah. Any other?
He has given so many options, how
Yeah.
we attend to him. This every text, I read.
Yeah. If you can't do this, do this. If you can't do this, do this.
That's it.
He's just being so
Yeah,
much.
so many options he gave.
Yeah.
Even I was thinking that I have a friend who is a Muslim, and she used to say Allah is merciful. So she just say one quality of Allah, and I used to say yes, Krishna is merciful and have other qualities. And here in this verse, I was just reminding that 10-15 years back thing, that yeah, Krishna is merciful. You don't do this, then you do this. If you cannot do this,
He has given so
then
much choice for us.
yeah.
Yeah. He's adjusting. Starting from Maya Vesh Mano Yamam, Nitya Yukta Pasate, Maya Vesh Mano Yamam, that those who engage their mind in me, which is a very difficult thing to do, right? For us to engage mind in the Krishna is the biggest thing, because our mind wants to go here and there.
Yeah.
And then Atha Chittam Samadhatam Na Shaknosi Maisram. If you're not able to do that, Abhyas Yogina, okay, then practice. Abhyas Yogina Tato Mam Ichhaptum Dhanantya. Then develop a desire to achieve me. Once you develop that desire, then it will be easy for you to meditate on Krishna. Right now, we get sidetracked by so many other material desires that we have in our life. Okay? And then you know that, okay, abhyasi abhi asaktosi. You can't even do that practice. I don't want to get up in the morning. I don't want to chant the Ram. Mat karma paramo bhava. Okay, do something for me. Go sweep the temple. Right? Go deliver books. Do something. Wash the dishes. Right? Mat karma paramo bhava. Madhartam api
Today
karma.
morning I had 7:51 class, Mataji Bhagavatam. And then evening 7 o'clock another class. And now I have another class. So my time is going so good in this lonely place.
So,
Mataji, excuse me, sir. Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Simi.
Mataji, can you like like this, the options, like, okay, you can do this, you can do this, you can do this. Can you just simplify and just give like a gist of it?
Gist of is okay. So he's saying that apply my mind. Yeah. So meditate completely on me.
Always meditation.
Always meditate on me. Always means 24/7. So that's the highest that you can do. That's samadhi. Okay? And then after that, it is that, okay, if you cannot do that, then what is the next step? You do practice, which means get up in the morning, take a diya, ghee lamp, go there, offer food, right? Sit down, chant, read something. So there's a practice, and you do that every day. Practice, 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 practice. Practice makes a man perfect. Right? Once you're doing this practice, then the desire to serve Lord will be strengthened in you because of the practice that you're doing. And then once the desire is there, Mam Ichhaptam is to achieve the Lord. When the desire becomes strong, then you will be able to concentrate. Because where does the mind go? The mind goes wherever our desires are. You might not notice it, but wherever our mind goes, there's a desire behind it that's forcing the mind to go there. And it's the soul that desires. So first level is meditation, complete on God, samadhi. Second level is practicing. And if you can't do any practice like that, 7 o'clock you have to do this, 12 o'clock you have to do this, Kartik you have to put Bharat. Not if you can't do that, then he's saying just do some work. And work will be, you can do some menial work in the temple, you can write programs, you can develop temple's website, and so on and so forth. And then if you cannot do that, right? Because sometimes a person might not have the time to be able to do that, might not have support from the people in the family to do that, right? So then he says, if you cannot do that, then you give away the fruits of your result to me. The fruit of the result means that, you go and give some donation, because whatever work that we do usually results in some money coming our way or some sort of a material benefit. So give away that benefit, a part of that benefit to Krishna. So, that is the way he's saying that you can do 4 levels. He talks about that you can do that in the 4 verses. Does that help, Simi Mataji?
Yes, thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So we all lie somewhere between abhyas and dhyan, because sometimes we are concentrating on Krishna maybe for 1 microsecond and then it goes away. But majorly we are doing abhyas, sadhana, which is called sadhana. Sadhana means practice, or abhyas. We are doing sadhana bhakti. So sadhana bhakti is where there are some rules and regulations, and we are following those rules and regulations. Don't eat meat, no illicit sex, no gambling, right? Like that. No intoxication.
Half of the things I don't do, but still I got this salmonella bacteria disease. Doctor was surprised. So you don't eat anything, so how could he got this one? The infection.
There you go. Yeah. So yeah. Was there a reflection somewhere? Somebody was saying something? Yeah. What else? Anything else you read?
Mataji, I have a question. Like the people who worship demigods, Krishna says that after you worship them, that is like indirect devotional to me, not direct. And after that, you will later on demigods only will redirect to me when your sufficient is done. But for impersonalist, it is not said like that.
Yeah, impersonalism is not good at all, and Mayavad is the worst.
So, but impersonalist is Krishna's energy, right? It's effulgence and devotees, and those demigods are Krishna's devotees, or like Shiv and Durga Devi and all. So they are considered more better than impersonalists.
Yes, because they are devotees. They are devotees of the personal form of Krishna. They are not impersonalists.
Okay.
They are at a higher level, definitely. They are bhaktas. And usually those who go to try to go to the effulgence, they are jnanis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna Mataji. A small question against to this only. Garima Mataji, is yours over? May I ask?
Yes, Mataji. Mine is over.
Okay. Hare Krishna Mataji. Mataji, my question is that Mayavadi and impersonalist. What is the actual difference between the two?
Okay. Does anybody know in the class what's the actual difference between Mayavad and impersonalist?
Impersonal is like what I know is they first say that concentrate on mind on Krishna, and then later you have to you have to do inside your mind there is a jyoti. You have to see that. And Mayavadi says, I am also God and you are also God. Everyone is God.
Yeah, correct. For 300 points. So
What?
Mayavadi
Okay.
is, yeah, Mayavadi is one who says that everybody is God. You are also God, but somehow you have come under the control of Maya. And so you are under this situation where you're thinking that you are this body and all these sufferings are happening because of the Maya. So that's called Mayavad, right? Now, if you go to the definition of Krishna or definition of God, in Brahma Samhita first verse, what did we do? Well, how do we describe Krishna?
Ishvara Parama Krishna.
Ishvara Parama Krishna Sachidananda Vigra Anadi Radi
Anadi Radi
Sarvakara.
Sarvakarna.
Explain that to me. What does that mean?
He is Govinda and he is the
It means
cause of all
he's good.
cause.
What does the first line mean?
Oh,
Parama Krishna.
First line. Give me the first line. Full.
Sachidananda Vigraha.
No, 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 no.
oh no, no.
He is
First line. No, no,
Ishvara
no,
Parama
no,
Krishna.
no, no. Stay with the class. Yeah, first line. First line. What's the first line? What is the first?
Ishvara Parama Krishna.
Very good. And
Ishwar is
what does
the
Ishwar mean?
Parma.
What does
He's
Ishwar mean?
he is the Parma.
No.
Parma.
What does Ishwar mean?
Supreme personality. Ishwar
No.
is
What does Ishwar mean?
Controller.
Bhagwan.
Controller. Exactly right for 600 points. So Ishvara Parama Krishna. So Parama means the best, highest. So Ishwar is controller and Parama is best. And then Krishna, so highest, right? So Krishna is the highest or the supreme controller. Ishvara, Parama, Krishna saying Krishna is the supreme controller. And now what we are saying is that somehow I am also Krishna, but I got under the control of Maya. How could you get under the control of Maya? You are Krishna. You are the supreme controller. How can you become like that? So the Mayavad philosophy is completely flaked. It's completely bogus because it goes against your definition, against whatever your premises you have of your definition of God. What was the definition of God? He is the one who has got 6 opulences to the fullest, right? Bhoga Aishwarya, right? We did that Aishwarya verse, right? So he has all of these opulences to the fullest. So he's the most beautiful, the most powerful. So when you're saying Krishna is the most powerful, that is your definition of God. And now you have created somebody called Maya who is able to control Krishna. Then what you were supposing is wrong. Your thesis was wrong. Your assumptions were wrong. Then actually Maya should be God because she's able to control Krishna, right? So Mayavad philosophy is completely flawed and very dangerous. And this is actually the last snare of Maya, that Maya throws that last snare and as a last test where that thought will come to your mind that I am God, and then if you're fortunate you will drive away with that thought, but if you like that thought, then you will just end up being a Mayavadi. Actually they say that it's better to be a non-believer. Non-believer means one who doesn't believe in God. It's better to be a non-believer than to believe that you are God.
But it is such a simple explanation that if Krishna is the supreme, how can you call yourself God? Because you are in this world. So how can there be any people who are believing in the Mayavadi?
Maya apahrita jnana. Yeah. So in subsequent chapters of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna will talk Maya apahrita, aparhana. So jnana. Maya comes and controls whatever knowledge that you have and takes you into that direction, right? Because you have some desire. There is some rebellion still inside us which says that I'm not willing to accept that Krishna is really God. So when people throw these kind of bogus philosophies, I'm interested in them and I pursue them and I follow them, and then I fall down like that. Yes, to a bhakta, Sukomal Radhi, to a bhakta, it's very simple. To a bhakta, it appears very simple. Simple, bhakti
But
simple.
it's common sense even for non-bhaktas, right?
They don't have common sense. Do you think common sense is common? It's a very rare
Yes,
thing.
Mataji, I was just about to say that thing because the people who is not Mayavadi, they also still don't believe that the Krishna is the doer. They also think that we are doing, we are going, we are so.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah, we're little controllers. Yeah, ourselves. And we foolishly think that we are doing everything because we haven't yet read chapter 18 of Bhagavad Gita, where it talks about the 5 factors of action. Right? So the more
So
we,
there will be a little difference between Mayavadi and them.
and who is the them? Explain, qualify them, and
Means
describe the them a little bit more. Who are those people? What all things
Mataji,
are happening?
those who thinks that they believe in God but not Krishna, but they think that we are doing everything. So I'm talking about that kind of.
Yeah, but they're still better. They're still better. They are not thinking that they are God, right? They're just thinking that I'm
No.
doing this, and then they will know there are certain things that they cannot do, right? Like if you go to show them Govardhan Leela of Krishna, they will know that they can't live Govardhan on their finger. They know that, right? They also know that they can't create matter,
But
right?
then the ego is coming in the way, right? When they say that I am doing
And
this
that is,
and
yeah,
I am.
they are not, absolutely, they are not perfect. I'm saying they're not perfect, but they're not as bad as Mayavadis. That is the thing that we need to keep in our mind, right? So they're not as bad as Mayavadis, but they are not best also. They confuse souls. They need some guidance. They need somebody to give them books. They need somebody to give them prasadam, like that.
Still, if they argue, they want to
Oh, they are
listen.
very good at argumentation. They're very good at arguments. And what Krishna says, what Prabhupada says, and I really like it. I try not to argue on philosophical grounds a lot because it's a matter of faith. How much more how much will you get by arguing with the faithless, right? It says it is like casting pearls in front of the swine, right? If you take a pearl necklace and you put it in front of a pig, the pig won't know its value, right? Or in Hindi you say bhains ke aage been bajana, right? If you
Like
play the
Vaisheshika
flute.
Prabhu says, don't give a Gita to someone who is faithless.
Yeah, yeah,
Don't give it.
yeah.
That's true.
So actually it's one of the offenses to preach the glories of the name to those who are faithless is an offense.
Mataji, when I used to work in this Colorado, that Department of Social Service, lot of people, they used to bring these Krishna books, just to give, but I end up seeing them in the bathroom. So I used to feel so bad. And sometimes I tell them, I read that they're throwing it out. So that was really something. Sometimes it bothers me.
Well, yeah, I can understand because you have that sentiment. And I was once distributing books in San Francisco a couple of years ago. And so there was a homeless man, and we were doing Bhagavad Gita. So we had just Bhagavad Gitas with us, or at least I had just Bhagavad Gitas with me. And so he came and asked, like, do you have other books? So I said, no. He said, the Bhagavad Gita, this I have already read. I was shocked beyond my wits. That man sitting,
Yeah, exactly.
he's a homeless
That's
person, so he has got his trolley where he's put everything which he maybe took from Costco or some such place. And so he said that, yeah, I read. Where did you get it? He said, I found it in the trash can. So somebody must have taken a Bhagavad Gita and then thrown it there, which of course is irreverential act that he did. But then you see where the Bhagavad Gita landed. So you never know what is there in Krishna's plan. And just because somebody, the fear that you are going to, you are not the one who's throwing it away. Your intentions of giving the Bhagavad Gita were pure. You wanted to do that, right? And the one who is throwing it away is doing it unknowingly or knowingly. Either cases, he will get some punishment to that degree of whatever his intentions were there. But that should not prevent you from or dissuade you from distributing this knowledge. Because if you don't distribute the knowledge, we are already talking about that, right? If you don't tell the glories of Krishna to people, then they might get waylaid and sidetracked into thinking that they are God, number one, right? And I've noticed that a lot of people come here to America. There's a lot of opulence, there's money, people earn. And so things are on their finger, on the beck and call, right? You've got money, you can arrange this with a few phone calls, you can arrange a party at 30 minutes notice, you can do all those kinds of things, right? So they start thinking that they are God.
Mataji, I have a question in this aspect only. Like Mayavadis, they think they are God, right? So they think in what form? Like in everything, like in qualities, everything. Like
Yeah, I am God. I
oh,
am God. It's just that Maya has got I have come under the control of Maya, and because of that, I'm in this body and I'm not able to do what I'm capable of doing. I'm God.
Okay.
Yeah, Mayavad is that.
I was thinking like as a devotee, we are also like qualitatively, we are also like Krishna. So they were also thinking like same way, like we are qualitatively wise, we are like Krishna, but quantitatively we are not Krishna, right? We are
No,
we.
no, no. They are quantitatively also, they are like Krishna.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Thanks for
Except
telling.
for, yes, except for the under control of Maya.
Okay.
And we think from 15th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, you all like that verse a lot when we were discussing.
Yeah. Yes, my favorite.
Mame vansho jiva loke jiva
Okay.
bhuta
Good.
sanatanaha.
Sanatana.
Right? So that we are parts and parcel of Krishna. And so that is what we call as achintya, bhed, and abhed. Simultaneous oneness and difference that the soul has with the Lord. Right? The oneness with the Lord is in qualities. That Krishna gets angry, I can also get angry. Krishna likes fun, I also like fun. Krishna is the enjoyer, I also like to enjoy. Right? Krishna likes to crack jokes, I also like to crack jokes. Krishna likes to eat, I also like to eat. Like that, right? So I have got how much can Krishna eat and how much can I eat? Quantitatively, there is a difference there. So our thing is, and it's so the simultaneous oneness and simultaneous difference, is different, is difficult to understand. But Mayavadis are there. Then impersonalists are those who are thinking that there is God. They're thinking that there is God, but they think that the God doesn't have any form. Right? So when Krishna comes here, and once it is a very rare thing, once in the day of Brahma, he comes, right? As in the form of Krishna, the blue and gray, who came 5,000 years ago. That's a very rare incarnation form in which Krishna incarnates. So we are very lucky that we are here just 5,000 years after Krishna left. So people think that this Krishna is not God. This Krishna who came here is not God, whereas we say that he is God, and he says sambhavami yuge yada yada hi dharmasya glanirnir bharata abhyuttanam adharmasya tadatmanam srijamyaham. So he does not saying tadatmanam janmati aham, as he's not saying I'm born. Srijami. So whenever there is a decline in religiosity and a rise in irreligiosity, abhyuthanam adharmasya. Whenever adharm increases, then I
descend.
I descend. He's not born. He descend means, and that is what an avatar is. Avatar will descend from the top, and then in its same form, it will just come down. Okay? So avatar basically means that there are these bodies that are living on the spiritual planets, and they come down. Like Modi from India can come to USA.
I wish, but Corona time, Krishna will come here, Mataji.
Krishna is in your heart.
Because
So,
whole world is shaking.
there you
So
go. Yeah, devotees are enjoying.
he should come.
Yeah. So so that is Krishna in his form. Now, so Krishna is there, and that's what an incarnation is. Okay. So there's
Thank you, Mataji.
incarnations, and then there are expansions of Krishna. For example, there is Krishna, and then Krishna expands. Right? He will expand into Balram. So that is an
Yeah.
expansion. So these expanding kind of things, they happen in the spiritual world. It's all that is happening in the spiritual world, that the Krishna is there, he expands and becomes Balram, and both of them are the same. Achintya, difficult to understand. How from one you get two and both of them are the same, right? Our mathematic doesn't say that, right? If from one you become two, then each will be half and you add and becomes one. But here it's not like that. That's only the plenary expansion, complete expansion, right? So now imagine in the spiritual world, you have got Krishna and you have Balram. And now they decide that I'm going to take a flight and I'm going to come to India in the same body that they have, in the spiritual body. That is known as avatar or a descent. Okay. So expansions happen there, as many as they want to expand. And then when they come down to this material world, that is an incarnation. So when they come as an incarnation, sometimes an incarnation will be a very powerful incarnation and exhibiting a large number of properties of Krishna. right? So they are known as, full incarnations. And then there are, where is Sutapa? Then there are sub-incarnations. Sub-incarnations, not all the qualities will be displayed, right? Like Matsavatara, like that, okay? So that is, so they will come down. So people who are impersonalists, they will look at Krishna and they will say, this is not God. They will say, okay, this is a material body. They'll say Krishna's body is material. And what is inside that body is the actual Krishna, right? So it's a soul, it's a light, whatever they say. So impersonalist, they know that there is God. They know that they are not Him. They know that they are not God, but they think that God doesn't have any shape. Right? Now, one of the tests about God is that if you ask any, and this is the absolute truth, this is what it means to be the absolute truth. For example, if you say, is Shraddha-devi Dasi the absolute truth? Then every question that you ask about her should result in yes. That's the absolute truth, right? Does Shraddha Mataji wear glasses? Yes. Does Shraddha-devi Dasi have hair in her head? Yes. Right? Does Shraddha-devi Dasi know Mahabharata in full? No. You see? So not the absolute truth. So you keep on asking questions and the answer will be yes, yes, and yes. So then comes the crazy question. Does Krishna have a form? Yes. Does Krishna does not have a form? Yes. For both they are there. Brahmeti, Paramatmeti, Bhagwan iti shabdate. Achintya. It's difficult for us to understand that. So when we say Krishna, it doesn't have any form, we are referring to his effulgence. When you're saying Krishna has got a form, we are talking about the flute in the hand, threefold bending form, right? Like that. So when you say, so does he have a form? Yes. Is he formless? Yes. Right? Can Krishna, um, can Krishna build a wall that he cannot climb? Yes. But then what happens? Then Krishna ever expanding. So as soon as he builds a wall that he cannot climb, then he will expand and then he can climb it. So you see, it's crazy trying to go and ask these kind of crazy questions. Better is to have faith and then pursue that route, right? Because what we are doing here is that we are raking our intellect and we are trying to bring Krishna under the control of our intellect. Why? Because we are controllers ourselves, because we are parts and parcel of Krishna, who is the supreme controller, like that. Okay, so we have this tendency to control inside it. Whereas, so that is what it is. Now, in all this thing, in all this pursuit of trying to find what is Krishna, that is not enough, right? So we have to know, with respect to Krishna, we need to know who is Krishna, right? That is my goal. My goal is to know who Krishna is, right? And that is not, and then there will be a process. There'll be a process to get to know Krishna, and that devotional service is the fastest process. So there's a process to know Krishna, and then somehow, let's assume that you know who is Krishna. Janma karma cha me divyam evam yoveti tattva. So somehow you know who Krishna is, and then after that, the question that comes is, now what do I do? I know that is Krishna. I know that I am a soul. What's the next thing? So I also need to know, what is my relationship with Krishna? I also need to know that, right? And what's our relationship with Krishna?
Part and parcel of Krishna. And
Jivera Sarup Hoye Nitya Krishna.
Nitya Krishna. Yeah, the eternal servitors of the
You
Lord.
are the eternal servant of Krishna. That is your relationship with Krishna. So that is the relationship I have to revive, I have to understand, I have to discover, I have to feel and do, perform that I'm a servant of Krishna. So that is my nature. That is the nature of the soul. The soul is wired to serve Krishna. So when the soul is wired to serve Krishna, this means that it will be happiest when it is doing what it is wired to do. And so if you go and now hang in the Brahma Jyoti, thinking that I have merged in it, there's no merging. There cannot be merging. Merge means the identity is lost. Identity cannot be lost. Why? Chapter 2 of Bhagavad Gita. Nothing can moisten the soul, nothing can cut the soul. You can grind the soul and mix it into Brahmajyoti. What can you do with the soul? The soul is an individual particle. So it'll just, all these shiny particles just go and hang in the Brahmajyoti. And these shiny particles are wired to do service, but when they're hanging in Brahmajyoti, they have no opportunity to do service. How will you do service? You have no body. That is manifested, neither material nor spiritual. Right? So you will get bored there. And also, number one, you get happiness. The ultimate happiness and the highest happiness that you're going to get is from doing loving devotional service to the Lord. And so when you don't get a chance to do that, you'll get bored and you'll want that happiness. And then you will rake your brains and say, okay, where did I last get some happiness? Oh, it was there below in the material world. So they will come down. They will fall down from a Brahmajyoti. And who was it last time? I think Aruni Mataji had pointed out when we were reading in this chapter that a few, occasionally one or two might go from a Brahmajyoti, they might proceed. Right? And I was telling that don't focus on that one. Don't focus on that. Majority of them will fall down. And when they fall down, what will they do? They'll continue to do the same thing because they never learned. They didn't go to Brahmajyoti and learned anything from others there. To learn, you'd have to be surrounded by devotees. Right? Devotees are going to tell you, right? Who else is going to tell you about Krishna? So we need devotee association. We need bodies around us. And we don't have that when we are in the Brahman.
So Mataji, is it like that? Like because we are not the body, we are the souls. So they have that concept in their mind, Gyanis, like because we are the souls. So how can we worship, Krishna who has a form? Is the concept?
It could be that. One of the reasons that Prabhupada says that people pursue impersonalism is that they are very, and all of us are actually tired of the bodies because the body gives you grief.
Mm-hmm.
Agree?
Yeah, totally.
Okay.
Totally.
Okay, now second question.
100%.
Okay, now second question. Extensions of your body, they give you grief?
Lot of grief.
A lot of grief. There you go. Right? So body is an extension. What you think are extensions of body, they all give you grief. So they have figured it out. They know that this body is the source of my misery. They are smart. They figured it out. So they say that in order for me to be happy, I have to remove this source of misery. That is their methodology. Whatever is giving me grief, if I remove it, then I will be happy. And then it says that, Prabhupada says that they only come to the level of zero. Only come to the level. Absence of grief does not mean that you're happy. Absence of grief or absence of unhappiness has just brought you to the stage of a zero. I'm neither happy nor sad, I'm neutral. But the soul is a part and parcel of the Krishna, and Krishna is Satchit Ananda Vigraha. He's the form of Sat, Chit, and Anand. Anand. This means I'm part and parcel of Krishna. I also need Anand.
Yes.
I need Anand. Right? But where will I get Anand? The only Anand that I know in this material world is through my body. If I'm pursuing the materialistic route, right? So when they are hanging up there and they're getting bored, they just come back here because this is all that they know. And then they will continue to do the same thing because samskara, etching, and apohanam, forgetfulness. Then they'll go through the cycles of that. And then only by the mercy of a devotee of the Lord, or something happens to them by the mercy of the Lord. And actually, there's a very interesting verse. It's in the third canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, which tells us a very nice story of how these things happen. And so let me just go there for the few minutes that are remaining today. And we can always continue with 2.5. But to briefly answer your question, Sukumala Mataji, embodied means when a soul is put inside a material body, then it is called embodied.
Oh, okay.
So, description of the kingdom of the Lord, and I think this one is 43 on my other screen. 43, it's a beautiful verse. Oops, I should just search for 43. Yeah.
Mataji, the absence of grief doesn't mean that you are happy.
Yeah.
And the Prabhupada said that is zero, means
Yes.
I did not understand that part.
Zero means that you on the happiness scale.
Okay.
Happiness scale. See on in your life also, in your life, there can be grief. Somebody died, so there is grief. There is happiness. Somebody got married. Somebody got a child, right? So there is happiness. And there could be neutral. Nobody died, nobody got married. I'm neutral. Like that, right? This is neutral. I can be grieved. I can be happy. Right? So neutral. Nothing.
Is not having debt doesn't mean we are millionaire.
Yeah, very good. Thank you. Thank you. Very nice citation. Yeah. If you don't have a debt, doesn't mean that you're a millionaire. Fantastic. There you go. For 1700 points. Prabhu, I like your analogy so much. Okay. So let's just share this screen here. Tasya nayanasya padaravinda kinjal kamishra tulasi makaranda vayuhu antargata savivarena chakaratesham sankashobham aksharajusham apichittatanvoho. So this particular verse is actually talking about the four Kumaras. You know four Kumaras, the sons of Brahma, the four little boys, celibates.
Yes,
They
ma'am.
were
Yes, Mataji.
they were impersonalists in the beginning. They believed in the impersonal form of the Lord, right? And so they are traveling in the Brahmajyoti, and then but they are exalted souls, so they're able to go towards the Vaikuntha planets, right? And when they reach there, what happens? So whose turn is it to read?
Archana Mataji.
Fine, Mataji. Shall I read the translation, Mataji?
Yes, please.
Okay. When the breeze carrying the aroma of tulsi leaves from the toes of the lotus feet of the personality of Godhead entered the nostrils of those sages, they experienced a change both in body and in mind, even though they were attached to the impersonal Brahman understanding. Hare Krishna.
So you see, this is one of the ways an impersonalist can become a personalist. Let's continue.
Timmy Mataji.
Who is
Timmy Mataji.
Yeah.
Simi?
Hare Krishna Mataji. It appears from this verse that four Kumaras were impersonalists or protagonists of the philosophy of monism, becoming one with the Lord. But as soon as they saw the Lord's features, their minds changed. In other words, the impersonalist who feels transcendental pleasure in striving to become one with the Lord is defeated when he sees the beautiful transcendental features of the Lord. Because of the fragrance of his lotus feet carried by the air and mixed with the aroma of tulsi, their minds changed. Instead of becoming one with the Supreme Lord, they thought it wise to be devotees. Becoming a servitor of the lotus feet of the Lord is better than becoming one with the Lord. Hare Krishna.
There you go. So you see, these are rare occasions when a transcendentalist is so blessed that they'll be able to reach there. They hear, they smell the tulsi coming from the which have been offered to the lotus feet of the Lord. And just by the smell, they get transformed, and then they see the form of the Lord. But rarely it happens.
Mataji, I always feel, think of lotus feet, and I always feel that, can I be something at his lotus feet? Either flower or whatever it is, dust or something.
That's a good
I
place.
want to be I always look into the lotus feet, and thanks to Ramanasaka Prabhu, he sends to, and then even Philadelphia also, they sent me that lotus feet picture all the time.
Very nice.
So I always think that I don't know whether I'm asking more or I don't know, but I want to be like that.
If you want to know whether you're asking more or not, then you should read the last verse of Shikshastakam. Last verse of Shikshastakam, right? So what is Krishna consciousness? Krishna consciousness is that you do the will of the Lord. And we see that in Bhagavad Gita also, right? Arjuna had a different will. He wanted to do or not do. Right? But then Krishna talks and then he understands that this is Krishna's plan. Nimit matra bhava savya sachin. Just be an instrument, right? So in that 11th chapter we read. So he knows that Krishna already has planned this, and then he becomes a part of Krishna's plan and serves Krishna by executing Krishna's plan, putting aside his own desires. So it is good to start with that I want to be this and that at the lotus feet. And as you progress, then you'll reach a stage where it'll be like, okay, I don't even care. You can make me anything. You can make me an animal as long as I remember you, Lord. That's what, it'll do like that. So it'll go to a higher level. And then it goes to still higher level, where in the eighth verse of Sikshastakam, they say that I don't even care what you do to me. You can be a lumpet. A lumpet is a man who breaks your heart, right? You can be a lumpet who breaks my heart, but I'll still love you. This is like the height of love the devotee has got. That's why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu didn't write any books, but he gave us Sikshastakam, just 8 verses, and they are sufficient. They are so potent. So very potent, all 8 of them. Okay, so on that fantastic note, I'll have to take your leave. It's 3 minutes to 8 o'clock. Need to wind this up. And when will we meet again?
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow?
Tomorrow morning.
And what will be the...
Oh, morning?
Tomorrow
Yeah,
morning, Friday.
No,
Friday.
Varshana Mataji's time is morning.
Morning for India.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
so same 8 o'clock. Is that right, Mataji?
Right.
My time 8 o'clock, but tomorrow I might be in somewhere else.
Right.
Not in Colorado.
Yeah. So there's a question on Facebook that Vijay Lakshmi Mataji is asking, that an example of a Mayavadi, an example of a Mayavadi, one there are so many. I just don't want to name. But they're very big, famous groups in India who will teach you this. So aham, that is God, and so am I. Like that, right? So there are many groups, many people who propose.
Are there here also, Shraddha Mataji, people,
Yes.
Mayavadis?
Yes. There are more Mayavadis in America.
Really?
Yeah. Because of the opulence, you can tend to think that you're God, right?
What?
Because of the
Even Hare Krishna Mataji.
Devotees of
Even Shankaracharya was also Mataji
yes.
Mayavadi, no?
Yes.
I was about to tell
Yes,
that.
he was a Mayavadi, and actually Shivji says to Parvati that, asach chatram, I come in the Kali Yuga in that form to propagate this Mayavad philosophy. And we'll talk more about that.
Okay.
Is that okay? Believe
Okay.
I have another thing to do.
Hare
All right,
Krishna.
thank you so much, all of you, for joining us
Thank you,
here on
Mataji.
Facebook.
Much,
Sorry,
Mataji.
Thank
on
you.
Zoom.
Thank you,
Hare
Mataji.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Kalpatarubhyascha,
Krishna
kripa
Kripa Sindhu.
Patitanam Pavnebhyo,
Vaishnava
Vaishnavabhyo
Namo
Namo
Namo.
Hare Krishna to
Namo.
everybody.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
That's
Krishna.
Hare
the
Krishna.
Thank you.
Thank you,
All
Mataji.
right, we need to stop this broadcast on Facebook to be able to start the next one. I need to stop the recording also.